Now that we've seen what FM8 can do in a classic FM environment, what it can do when you're emulating more of a subtractive signal flow, last thing I want to show you is kind of a hybridized approach of the two, and it can be very, very powerful and can get you some really aggressive, edgy sort of sounds. And these are things that you've actually probably heard a number of times back in like dubstep's heyday, or maybe it's bro step, I don't know what you call it. Skrillex famously came out and said his most edgy patches were from like FM8. And at the time, if you're somebody who was familiar with FM synthesis, you're thinking, what? I thought FM8 was only good for like poorly emulating acoustic sounds. And no, that's not true. When you go in here and really take advantage of all the specialty aspects of this instrument, you can do some really wild and crazy sound design things. So let's just go ahead and get started, maybe go through a quick example of how maybe that would work. We have F outputting right now, just our sine wave. Let's bring something else in just to get it a little bit denser. Let's go up to E, and let's pick a waveform that sounds kind of interesting. Let's go down by 0.5 and see if we get something. The square down there actually sounds pretty good. Maybe this third form it will work quite well. Maybe have this modulate F a little bit. And right now I'm just trying to create like an interesting starting point, and then I'll go back and use the envelopes later on. This is how I usually do it anyway. Well, even this might work well. Yeah, this might actually be a really cool effect here. I might do something like this. Quicker. So that's kind of cool. But I probably would like a little bit of movement happening. That's going to be actually pretty boring if it's just doing that over and over again. So we'll add in another point here. Actually bring that one down, bring this one up. And the truth is, this whole process, it can take a decent amount of time while you're kind of like experimenting with things. So I don't want to like bore you too much, but I'll go up here. We'll just add in one more operator for now. We'll just stick to 3. And again, we're going to maybe choose this one, bring this one up to like 4. Do a little offset, maybe a little bit. And let's bring this one into F. Maybe we'll actually have this one just like kind of dive in at the beginning, and maybe 100 is going to be too far there. But we might do something like... And again, I'm considering like adding in another point here. If I can click on the right one, there we go. Maybe do something like... So that's kind of cool. Go down even another octave. And then one fun thing to do sometimes is to just bring in like a sine wave to kind of sit at the bottom, just as like a nice foundation, like I talked about before with sub. Oh yeah. I'm just considering, should I even try to like do any other modulation with any of these? This is actually a pretty nice, rich, dense sound already. Yeah, it's not going to be needed. Nope, I think I'm just going to stop where I am now and then go into the effects section. First, I'll start in the master section, see if we can maybe bulk this up a little bit. We could even go in and do a little bit of like pitch glide here. Yeah, it's not needed. Let me just check my envelopes to make sure that nothing has like a release going. So it's continuing on there at the end. Which is kind of interesting. Okay, that's where our problem is, isn't it? Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that we could attempt to use the saturator here. I'm a little bit worried to do that, only because I now have so much else going on, but I'll take some of signal F, feed that into the saturator, and then run some of the saturator out just so we can use it. Just a little bit. Maybe we'll have that come in a little bit later on or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think about all these things. I like that. And again, now I head into the effects section. I can do things like overdrive, cabinet, talk wah, etc. And this is a pretty famous effect. You can combine this with like an LFO if you have one in your DAW, and then you could kind of do something like. But unfortunately, you can hear, since this is like a pretty aggressive like Foreman filter, it takes away a lot of the top end. So if I was to bring that back in, I probably would go with like a shelving EQ and then really boost the highs. Or I don't even need to use full blown on this. I could actually bring some of this down. I don't like the tube. So imagine like, automating that parameter in your DAW. That would be like a lot of fun. We could go even further with this with more effects. I'd probably use, again, a limiter, and I'd really drive it in. This is how you can get those really big, aggressive type bass sounds or leads or whatever it is you want to create using FM8, really a hybrid approach using not only effects and some of the master settings here, but also going in and utilizing FM, but also sometimes just going straight through or using a saturator, etc. Thank you.